My fiancé swore her male best friend was like a brother. At a party, she sat on his lap and joked, "See, more comfortable than sitting with my fiancé." Everyone laughed. I just smiled. That night, she found out where comfortable really ends. I, Tannen, 35, a pharmaceutical sales director, had been with Vela, 33, a luxury real estate agent for 8 years. We were engaged to be married in 6 months. We lived in San Diego, California. It was a city I liked for its pleasant climate, but Vela only saw it as a backdrop for her elaborate social life. Our combined income was very high, but Vela's excessive spending on clothes and social status made our finances precarious. I made about $250,000 and Vela made about $130,000 in commissions. We owned a new, expensive house in the La Jolla area. Our lifestyle was defined by constant social events and high-end consumption. We often ate at exclusive restaurants like Addison. Our friends were mostly Vela's wealthy, image-obsessed clients and her large, demanding social circle. This group included her notorious male best friend, Keegan, who was constantly present. They constantly reinforced Vela's belief that social status was the ultimate achievement. I felt like the dependable, quiet provider who was constantly mocked. I wanted to move into high-level global pharmaceutical development strategy. Vela wanted me to remain a stable, high-income local director to fund her expensive life and maintain our social status. My career was excellent, but I felt stifled by the domestic market. I was successful at sales, but my true passion was in developing global market entry strategies for new pharmaceuticals. I wanted to apply my skills to international public health initiatives. I was quietly interviewing for executive roles that offered immense strategic scope. Vela was openly dismissive of my professional drive. She called global strategy paper pushing and implied my interest in public health was boring and unprofitable. She valued my income but mocked my intellectual ambition. The opportunity that presented itself was a true professional zenith. It was with a massive, international, non-profit health organization, backed by multiple governments. The role was Executive Director of Global Drug Access Strategy, Asia Pacific. The location was Singapore. This was a massive global step, placing me at the intellectual and strategic core of global health policy. The compensation package was exceptional. The base salary was $550,000 annually, entirely tax-exempt due to the organization's treaty status. They included an immediate, substantial signing and relocation bonus of $120,000. The benefits included fully paid, luxury executive housing, private security, and a guaranteed annual professional development fund of $50,000. This was the opportunity that secured immense purpose, ethical fulfillment, and undeniable financial power. I decided to present the offer to Vela over a weekend dinner. I was immensely proud of the achievement. I thought the executive director title and the tax-exempt status would finally earn her respect. "Vela, this is it. I got the offer. It's the executive director role. It's a complete pivot to global strategy," I said, handing her the formal offer letter. She barely looked up from her phone. She was texting Keegan. "Another job? Tannen, is this one less about boring spreadsheets and more about buying me a new Range Rover?" she asked dismissively. "It's Executive Director of Global Drug Access Strategy. With a major international health organization. The location is Singapore." She scanned the tax-exempt salary figure. Her eyes widened, but the excitement quickly turned to cold disapproval. $550,000, tax-exempt. That's incredible. But Singapore, that's thousands of miles away. My entire client base is here. My social life is here. My friends are here. I would lose everything. My entire status is tied to my San Diego clients. You could focus on luxury, expatriate real estate. This is global strategy at the highest level. We could be financially free and making a massive global difference. This is about purpose. Purpose that excludes me. My life is here. My fame is here. You expect me to throw away my successful career and my fabulous life for a title on the other side of the world. You're so self-righteous, Tannen. You always prioritize your noble mission over my happiness. Just say no, I'm not moving." She tossed the packet back. Her contempt was clear. She confirmed her priority, her local, image-driven lifestyle and her demanding social circle were more important than my executive ambition or our shared financial security. I was merely a useful resource to fund her current image. The final insult came that night at a large party. Vela was, as usual, glued to Keegan. I was standing nearby watching. She and Keegan were alone on a large, custom-made sofa. Suddenly, Vela slid onto Keegan's lap. She settled in comfortably. She looked at me and then to the crowd nearby. See? More comfortable than sitting with my fiancé. Everyone laughed loudly, including Keegan. I just stood there and smiled faintly. I was done. I didn't engage. The humiliation was absolute. That night, she found out where comfortable really ends. Update 1. I did not say no to the organization. I accepted the offer immediately the next morning. I signed the contracts electronically and secured the massive relocation package. I would not allow her public contempt and her obvious disrespect to dictate my professional destiny. My plan began that very afternoon, executed with absolute, rational secrecy. The following weeks were marked by extreme surface-level tension. I would try to bring up the Singapore opportunity, framing it as an imminent, exciting move. The organization is providing a family housing allowance in Singapore. I need to get the paperwork ready for our departure. I suggested one evening. We are not departing, Tannen. I have told you repeatedly I am not leaving my life here. Stop pushing me. I need a partner who supports my current life, not a corporate idealist trying to force me to leave. She replied quickly. This is an executive director role, Vela. It's global health policy. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance. It's a nerdy, low, glamour job in a distant location. My friends agree. Stop calling it a chance. Call it what it is. Your selfish obsession. We are not moving. End of discussion. She repeated the dismissive lines often. They were designed to minimize my success and reinforce her control. Her friends quickly reinforced the narrative. At a social mixer, Keegan approached me, smirking. So, Tannen, still talking about trading your sales director job for some health crusade in Asia. What's up with that? Vela is right, man. You can't ditch your fun life for a paper-pushing title. Keegan asked, condescendingly. It's executive director of Global Drug Access Strategy, Keegan. It controls millions in aid funding. It's a path to immense purpose and wealth. I explained calmly. Purpose and wealth. You already have the perfect life. Vela has a great scene here. Everyone thinks you should listen to her. You're being selfish. You need to prioritize the relationship over your noble dreams. I prioritize a life of immense purpose and wealth. That's better than endless social consumption and debt. I replied, walking away. Their collective judgment only strengthened my resolve. They were all addicted to the same shallow, expensive life. My preparations became meticulous and silent. First, the financials were separated. I opened 2 new, separate accounts, a private wealth management account in my name with a major international bank and a dedicated investment trust. I changed my direct deposit information. I routed my entire check, including the $120,000 signing bonus, into the new, secure accounts. I left only a small, fixed amount flowing into our joint accounts for the minimal joint bills. Vela never checked the account balance. I created a precise spreadsheet detailing all shared assets and liabilities. The only significant asset was the equity in the La Jolla house. I planned to liquidate and split that quickly. Next, the logistics were handled. I spent my evenings secretly researching and virtually touring apartments in Singapore. I found a superb, high-rise unit in the Orchard district. It was close to my future office and had stunning views. I secured a long-term lease entirely in my name. The organization's relocation team handled the logistics. I used my vacation days for a quick, final trip to Singapore. I finalized the lease and handled the critical paperwork. Vela thought I was on a mandatory compliance conference in Arizona. I started sorting through my belongings. My professional books, my specialized research equipment, and all my personal documents were boxed up. I used a highly discreet international shipping service, paid for by the organization. I told Vela I was sending old work documents to an associate overseas. She barely glanced at the boxes. She was too busy planning a massive charity ball with Keegan. I began liquidating small, personal investments. I converted the funds into US dollars and transferred them to my new private account. I was creating a robust, personal financial shield. I had my documents notarized. I secured a new international driver's license. Every small detail was a deliberate step toward total, independent freedom. My focus at work was absolute. I finished my projects flawlessly. I received a stellar recommendation from my current firm. I timed my departure perfectly. It was scheduled for 2 days after the charity ball. The night of the party, after the final insult, I went home early. I finished packing my last bag. I deactivated her keycard to our house. I left her a final, brief letter with the separation papers on the counter. The letter stated that the relationship was terminated due to her sustained contempt and her public disrespect. It stated my new role as executive director in Singapore. It provided my lawyer's contact information, outlining the division of the house equity. She would arrive home to a dark, locked house and realize her comfortable, financially dependent life had just ended. She'd lost more than just me. Update 2. Vela arrived home late that night, expecting her comfortable, expensive life to continue. The keycard did not work. The house was dark. She found the separation letter taped to the door. I was already at the airport, waiting for my flight to Singapore. The letter was factual. It confirmed the dissolution of the engagement and the termination of the relationship. It cited her public mockery and her contempt for my career as the reason. It confirmed my new role as executive director of Global Drug Access Strategy in Singapore. I instructed my lawyer to file the dissolution papers immediately. When she finally contacted my lawyer, the reality set in. I was gone. My executive life had begun without her. Her immediate reaction was a furious explosion of anger. She sent me aggressive, long emails and texts via an old address. "You coward. You are ruining our life over a joke. I will expose you. You are emotionally abusive and cold," she wrote. "You're pathetic. You threw away 8 years over a silly comment. Come back and face me, you coward." Another demanded. I allowed my lawyer to reply once, confirming the finality of the decision, citing her public humiliation and disrespect as the definitive breach of trust. The lawyer added that all further communication must go through his office. Then came desperate bargaining. She shifted to long, apologetic texts. She promised to quit her job and find a remote role. She offered to fly to Singapore immediately and be the supportive fiancé. She swore she would never see Keegan again. I ignored them all. This was followed by a period of performative depression. I heard through mutual friends that she was posting cryptic, heartbroken messages online. She claimed I was mentally unstable and had abandoned her for a strange, temporary job. She sought massive public sympathy. Finally, the spike of pure anger returned. She hired a top divorce lawyer. She threatened asset claims for my entire signing bonus and half my future salary. My lawyer, armed with my financial documentation, quickly established that all my new assets, the tax-exempt salary, the controlled development fund, the housing allowance, were acquired post-separation and were legally separate. Her legal threats faded quickly. There was nothing for her to claim but half the equity in the house. My moving day was quiet. I was already working in Singapore. I had hired a logistics company to pack and ship her remaining belongings. Vela was reportedly staying with Keegan. I felt a profound sense of closure. My new life in Singapore was a constant, exhilarating challenge. The city was a blend of high-tech efficiency and immense global capital. My job as executive director was high stakes. I was leading a major strategic initiative that impacted millions of lives. I felt respected and validated for my intellect and purpose. I started thriving immediately. I joined an executive tennis club and explored the beautiful city-state. I made professional friends who respected my drive. My work success was immense. Within 8 months, my strategy led to a major, global public health breakthrough. The organization was ecstatic. I received the massive, unscheduled $150,000 bonus. It was for exceptional performance, entirely tax-exempt. I used the funds, combined with my savings, to make an all-cash purchase of a superb, high-rise condominium in the Marina Bay area. It was a secure, tangible asset. The lies Vela had been spreading back home began to crumble. She was telling everyone that I took a low-paying, insignificant administrative job. She claimed I was just a remote worker struggling with the language. "Tannen, what is going on? Vela is saying you're working for a tiny NGO and struggling. She says you're miserable." A distant relative texted. "She told us you're just a project coordinator in a tiny office." A mutual friend added. I ignored most of them. I was polite only to her parents, who seemed genuinely confused. "Tannen, is it true you're struggling? Can we help?" Vela's father asked on the phone. "I'm doing very well, sir. I'm the executive director of Global Drug Access Strategy. My salary is tax-exempt and massive. I am thriving and fulfilling a great purpose. I decided to stop the lies permanently." I made a formal post on LinkedIn. The post was professional. I celebrated the success of my Global Drug Access initiative. I included a picture of myself standing with the heads of multiple international health organizations in Singapore. My executive director of global drug access strategy title was front and center. The sheer scale of my success, my salary, and the organization's prestige were now public. The reaction was explosive. My old professional network was incredibly impressed. Her social network was stunned. The flood of emails and texts began immediately. Executive Director. Tannen, Vela told us you were unemployed. I'm so sorry we believed her. An old colleague wrote. I apologize, Tannen. We all believed her. She painted you as a sensitive, desperate failure. You look incredible. Keegan texted sheepishly. Her family also reached out. They acknowledged that Vela's version of events was false. They validated my decision. 4 months after the LinkedIn post, she showed up in person. I was leaving my apartment building. A taxi pulled up to the curb. Vela stepped out. She looked glamorous, but the confidence was gone. Tannen, I flew all this way. I had to see you. Executive Director. I had no idea. The apartment is stunning, she said, rushing toward me. You didn't know because you didn't want to know. You actively chose to believe I was a failure to justify your contempt, I replied. I kept a clear, physical distance. I've changed, Tannen. I saw my mistake. I'm ready to move in. I can find a job here. I'll support you completely. I want this life with you. You want this life. You don't want me. Do you remember what you shouted at the party? That sitting on Keegan's lap was more comfortable than sitting with my fiancé. Do you remember calling my work boring and unprofitable? You posted about your heartbroken victimhood all over social media. That was the real you, Vela. I was drunk, Tannen. I was reacting to the potential move. I swear, I'm a different person now. I value what you built. You value what I built because it is now successful and financially immense. Your character has not changed. Only the size of my portfolio has. The answer is no. You are not moving in. I rejected her firmly. She escalated legally immediately. Her lawyer sent letters demanding a share of my Singapore property. She claimed our 8-year partnership should apply. She demanded a stake in my controlled funding and my performance bonus. All shut down logically by my lawyer. He used the clear documentation of my separate accounts and the tax-exempt status of the income. Her legal action was dismissed. Her final move was a desperate social media campaign. She posted long, emotional stories on Instagram. She accused me of financial cruelty and abandonment. The campaign completely backfired. Mutual friends called her out. Even allies turned against her. 1 year later, I was thriving fully. My career was at an all-time high. I had purchased a second investment condo in Bangkok. My salary was higher due to a contract renegotiation. I was in a stable, respectful relationship with May, a brilliant public policy advisor. Our relationship was based on shared purpose and mutual respect. I received one final, short message from Vela. It was a direct message on an older platform. I made a huge mistake, Tannen. I truly regret treating you like I did. I am sorry. My reply was polite but short. It was the only thing required for closure. I accept your apology, Vela. I wish you well. Final update. I was back in the United States for a high-level conference in New York. My global profile was massive. I received an unexpected text from Vela's mother, Mrs. Sterling. She asked if I could meet her and Vela's father, Mr. Sterling, for a quick conversation. I agreed to meet them at a quiet private club. I respected them. They were already seated when I arrived. They looked visibly older and ashamed. They were immediately apologetic. Tannen, we wanted to see you. We needed to say this in person. We are profoundly sorry. We should have supported your ambition. Mr. Sterling said, his voice quiet. You don't have to apologize for Vela, sir. I've moved on. I'm happy now, I replied. It's not just for her. It's for us. Mrs. Sterling interrupted softly. We raised her to believe that constant attention and social performance were the ultimate goals. We taught her to dismiss anything that was quiet, purposeful, or internationally focused. We encouraged her belief that her local life was superior. You built something purposeful, Tannen, and she threw it away because she was too shallow to respect your intellect. Mr. Sterling nodded slowly. She lost everything because of her arrogance and her need to perform for a crowd. And for Keegan, she's learned the hard way that a partner who values your mind is more important than a crowd that cheers your humiliation. We just wanted you to know that we finally understand. You are an exceptional man. We are sorry we didn't treat you like one. Their apology was sincere and heavy with genuine regret. It was the final validation of my entire journey. It confirmed that the values I was ridiculed for, my quiet focus, my ethical ambition, my logical decision-making, were the correct ones. I accepted their apology gracefully. I told them I held no bitterness. I wished them the best for Vela's future. I walked away from the meeting feeling a deep, quiet sense of peace. My life now is a testament to the core lesson of this entire experience. Never tolerate a partner who publicly humiliates and betrays your core value. Vela's betrayal and mockery were rooted in her own insecurity and her desperate need for external validation. She wanted me to remain her comfortable, invisible resource. She tried to keep me small through ridicule and public humiliation. I learned that the only way to overcome this kind of contempt is through decisive, quiet action. I did not waste my energy arguing. I did not try to convince her. I simply built a life so grand, so professionally significant, that her realization of her error would be the ultimate consequence of my success. My tone remains rational and steady because I know the truth. I did not allow emotion to rule my decisions. I simply focused my energy on my own potential. I found a partner, May, who shares my values and respects my drive. We are committed to a future of shared, meaningful purpose. My career is booming. I am happy. I am secure. I am fulfilled. I built this life. I earned this life.